I read the runes. You lose. Blood will spill. Keep your distance. Makers guide me. They come for the scroll. Time dwindles.
Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I will show you how to play Ryze. So this champion has pretty much everything you need from a mid laner. He has great wave clear, he's very strong in 1 versus 1s. He's a good split pusher and he scales into the late game. Early game though is where he's weakest. So you're mainly looking to play it out passive, but if you play against a melee matchup like a Katarina, then you can harass her with auto attacks and your low cooldown abilities. So your passive guys, you get bonus mana based on how much AP you have. And especially mana is a very important stat on this champion, because all of your basic abilities deal bonus damage based on your mana. And of course, since you have low cooldown on your abilities, you will be spamming those in fights, so very important to have the mana pool to do so. Your W, guys, is a slow single target damaging ability that will slow the target. Your Q is also a single target damaging ability, and whenever you use your W or your E, then your Q will be refreshed. So in a normal combo, you always want to weave in those Qs between each of your other abilities. So we started with tier right here, and that is because we have teleport, so it doesn't really matter who we are playing against, because if we are ever low HP, then we can just recall and teleport back to lane without losing anything. And by starting tier, then we get to scale up much faster. Your E is the flux, guys, so it will damage the first target, and then that flux will spread to nearby targets. And that flux will actually empower your Q or your W. If you hit Q on a target that has flux on it, then it will deal bonus damage, and that damage will also spread to nearby targets with flux. Now if you use W on a target that has flux on it, then instead of slowing, then it will be a root. So that's good to use when your jungler is coming to gank you, or when you want to escape or just lock down the target so you can keep attacking them. That's something you want to be using very often. But yeah, Ryze is really fun to play, mainly because his wave clear is so insane. Early game he barely has any damage, but when you get a couple items, guys, then just one E and a Q is gonna demolish the entire wave. So you have insanely good wave clear that's also on a super low cooldown. You can see when you fight the enemy champion, guys, you can just E to the minion wave. And then if the champion is nearby, then that flux will also spread to them. And then you just Q a minion that has flux, and then that damage will spread to the champion as well. So you're looking to poke the champion a lot, guys, and then of course your E plus W and a Q will make it so you also get a ton of movement speed. You can do that with a E, W, Q, or you can also do it W, E, Q. Honestly, the goal on this champion is to farm up, get your items, get to that late game. That's why this champion really shines. Insane DPS in the late game. He's a DPS mage like a Cassiopeia. Very similar playstyles in that they have very short range, so they want to get up close. And then they will deal an insane amount of damage because they have very low cooldown abilities. It's gonna look to wave clear a lot of times, guys, and after level 6, when you have your first point into your ultimate, which we have now. So now we have that teleport up, that is the active, but the passive is also just as important because it will increase your flux damage. And this is huge, especially for your damage to champions, but also for your wave clear. Because this is why your wave clear starts becoming a lot better. You can see we are dealing a ton of damage to the minions, but we are not quite there yet. We need a couple more items and then that combo will one-shot. I could probably just have ulted out here, use my ultimate to escape with. It has a pretty big cooldown. The way you want to use this ultimate, of course you can use it to escape with, or you can also use it to gank. When you gank the bot lane, for example, then you want to use the ultimate towards the direction they will be escaping towards, because it has a short delay to it before you actually teleport, so you want to make sure that you have some extra time, so that's why you want to throw it behind them in the direction they will be running towards. And our support also rage quit. That's a bit unfortunate. I don't know why this early on in the game. It's almost even though, so it's weird that people would do that when the game isn't decided yet. But yeah, it does happen in solo queue. It actually happens all the time, so can't really do anything about it, guys. So most of the time you just end up FFing, but yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. So yeah, back to Ryze, of course. When you go for trades and such, if the opponent is able to trade back, then often you want to do the E into W into Q. And if you're fast enough, you can even throw in a Q before your W lands and still get the root off. That allows you to go for a quick trade and then you can just back off with that bonus movement speed. And that's also what you want to be using. If your jungler comes and wants to gank your lane, then of course that DC, the root, is absolutely crucial. Yeah, that was insanely close. Sucks we lost the Drake, but it is not really that important this early on in the game, especially if you play scaling champions. Then a lot of the times you will have to sacrifice these early objectives so you can farm up safe and really scale up, get your items and carry the game from there. So don't tilt if you lose the early objectives. That's how it is usually if you play scaling champion. Sometimes you will snowball early game, but that does not happen all the time. There you go, we can begin stealing away the jungle camps. This is what you want to do. E the entire camp and just Q it, boom. And that's pretty much what you want to be doing. Every single time you show in that wave, guys, and you know the raptor camp is up, just walk up, instantly delete that jungle camp and you'll end up having really high CS numbers. Of course, in my opinion, this is the most satisfying part of playing Ryze, is that his wave clear is so good, and on top of that it's also on such a low cooldown compared to most other champions. For example, Victor also has insane wave clear, but it's on a much higher cooldown. Of course, remember to always weave in that Q because it does reset on your W and your E, so to maximize that DPS, guys, it is crucial that you weave in those Qs and you do it really fast. Getting went for the bait right there because she knew I was coming, so it actually turned out to be pretty well. And this is how you want to be roaming with Ryze. You want people to commit to the engage, so wait for them to use their engage ability, the summoners or something. Once you see that being used, then you pop that ultimate right behind them, so when they try to escape they will be running straight into you. I follow up with that root, guys, and that's gonna end up in a free kill most of the time. Even if you don't get the kill, that is 100% gonna blow the summoner, so you still end up getting something for it. So the first mythic item, or the main mythic item you want to be buying on Ryze, is the Everfrost. You have a root on top of a root with that active guy, so you can just keep somebody perma-CC'd in a fight, and if it's a team fight, then that person is 100% dead, because they will not be able to move while they'll be taking damage from your entire team. That's also pretty questionable engage from Maokai. But yeah, you can see how important it is that you're able to use the right combos. On Ryze, he doesn't really have that many guys, it's mostly EWQ when you go for engages, and then of course if you WEQ, that's more for damage, so you slow somebody down with the W. And then you get that extra damage with the overload. The top lane is doing insanely well this game, that's always nice. It does not happen all the time though, so if your team ends and you play a scaling champion, then you will have to play really far back most of the time and really focus on wave clearing, you know, scale up, get all the farm you can, get the jungle camps and such. Wait for your spikes. Right now we have a pretty big spike, because we got the Everfrost guys, so we have a lot better all-in potential. You can engage with the EWQ and then you can pop that Everfrost, and then you have enough time for another combo. But this is not the biggest spike, of course this is a late game scaling champion guys, the more mana you have, the more damage you have on top of having extra AP, so late game, once you hit that level 16, that's where your overload bonus damage is fully increased, that's why you start obliterating teams, you have massive AoE damage, waves will be one shot with a single EQ, so that's where Ryze really comes online. Doesn't mean you can't do anything early though, but he's just not as impactful. Even his level 11 is also really nice. But like a Kassadin, you want that level 16. You get that level 16, then that's why you really have to carry the game. Now he has great team fighting, he's a strong split pusher because he's strong in 1 vs 1s and he has insane wave clear, but his weakness, he is short ranged and he's pretty immobile, because there needs to be somebody close for him to use his combo to get his mobility, so he's pretty much immobile, so that means that he's very prone to getting kited in teamfights. Or by long range comps, you know, like a Serath, Vel'Koz and such, so you don't really want to pick him into team compositions that can kite you from afar, so even a Caitlyn is also really bad, the ADC. So that's not the best case where you can pick Ryze. You can still do it of course, but it's going to make the game a lot harder for you. So pick him into short and medium range comps. He's good into bruisers and such. Anyone he can kite in close range is where he can do really well. He can also stall against assassins because of his wave clear, but keep in mind that compared to last season, he is not as tanky anymore because he does not have Rod of Ages, so a squishy target is an easy target for an assassin. So you have to be really skilled with this champion in order to make it work into assassin matchups, but it can work. He can do really well into them. Also, when you use that teleport to flank people, typically you want to teleport your front line straight into the back of the team. So for example, Camille is really good if she can follow up in your ultimate, guys. You don't want to teleport your ADC straight into their team, so really be careful with how you use it, because it can also end up backfiring if you can't really see the entire team. You teleport in and then suddenly everyone appears, so they just end up one-shotting you. And of course it's also telegraphed, so they can see you coming, so they can also prepare in advance. For example, Caitlyn can just spam traps on the spot you're teleporting, and that way really chain CC you to death. So be careful with how you use the ultimate, but a lot of times it's honestly a free win. You can also teleport your minions, you know. If you're pushing mid side and top side and you need minions in the top side, then you can stay mid, press that ultimate and get your minions toward the top lane. I think this Tryndamere is used to having Ghost or Ignite, and somehow went with teleport this game, so looks like he didn't realize it, so he just ended up wasting that spell. So yeah, that's a big win for us. Just focus on farming, guys. Thing is, when you have to roam and such, or join a upcoming team fight, make sure that you can actually get something if you get there. If you can't get anything and it's just an assist, then it's a complete waste of time for you. Because you could have spent that time AFK farming in the side lane and get a massive lead that way. But yeah, this is why teleport is so good in Ryze, because it allows you basically to stay in the side lane, just AFK farm, and if something happens you can teleport in. So unlike the enemy mid laner, we don't have to walk all the way when a fight starts and potentially can come in too late. But teleport is really good to have. We definitely need to recall soon as well, because we can get the Archangels, and that's also another huge spike. As I mentioned earlier on, he also scales with the mana. All his basic abilities will deal bonus damage based on your AP and mana. And since you also spam abilities on this champion, because he's a high DPS champ like a Cassiopeia, having a high mana pool is so important. Got the Archangel staff, guys, so now it's our time to shine. At this point we can honestly build whatever we want to. A lot of the times you get Sonya's Hourglass because you already have a lot of damage, but you also need something defensive because you will be almost in melee range in fights. So you will be vulnerable to anyone who can engage and chain CC you, especially if they have a hard engaged support like a Leona or a Nautilus. Then that extra defensive active you get from Sonya's Hourglass is going to be such a big help, because it's gonna help you survive. Because you have a ton of damage, but you're still very squishy, so that Sonya's active is actually such a important part of Ryze. But you can pop all of your damage and then you can pop that active, so you can dodge anything they throw at you pretty much. That's a bit unfortunate, couldn't really save Caitlyn right there. Tryndamere, he's pretty mobile, especially if he has Gale Force, and if he also gets his Namori, then he's just gonna permaspin, so can't really do much. But if you land that route into the active from your item, guys, then it should end up saving your ADC most of the time. But focus on farming. Farming is what you want to do every single game, no matter what. You just get whatever you can. go from lane to lane and just take everything so you can scale up, get to that level 16 and then just start one-shotting people. Right here I should probably have been bot side. I should have because the dragon is coming up. But my team is doing so well that they don't really need me, so they gave me some free time so I could recall, get some items and then see if we can make it back here. Probably not, we just have to give it up though because it's not really that important. We have a super scaling team, they have a early game team, they have Diana, they have Katarina, they have Tryndamere, but he's prone to getting kited. So you can deal with him in team fights. Of course, as a split pusher he's very dangerous, he's one of the strongest scaling split pushers, but he sucks in the team fight. Just need one more level guys and that's when you start seeing how insane his burst damage and wave clear is. Already now when we only have 2 points into our ultimate, that overload damage, basically the E into Q, is already dealing a ton of damage. It's already one-shotting the waves. So once we have level 16 and if we get a Rabadon's death cap, that's where it becomes so fun to play Ryze. The thing is, you don't have to build him like a glass cannon, you can also opt into defensive items, as long as they give some of the stats you are looking for. Mana, cooldown reduction, and of course defensive stats if you need armor or magic resistance. As long as you get those, then you can also opt into very tank defensive items. If you need to frontline for your team, or if they have a lot of assassins where you end up outscaling them either way, then you can go for these tankier items. As you saw early on right there, Diana was not able to move that E into W plus the Everfrost active, and that was enough. Objective taking potential is also really good. As you get items later on in the game, because he does have low cooldown on his basic abilities. But we got the Baron, and we also got level 16, so that's the last point that will upgrade the EQ combo. So now if we catch any squishy target guys, we can just pretty much one-shot them. You can use that Everfrost as the first in your combo if somebody is coming to face check you without having any vision at all. But if they do have vision and they know you're there, then you want to go for the EWQ and then Everfrost and then finish with another EQ. So we got the Sonya Hourglass. That means we can go even more ham in fights, we can go all in 1 versus 5, pop somebody and then pop that active and nobody will be able to damage us. Use the teleport right behind here so we can flank them, that's what we want to do all the time. And once again Diana, perma CC'd, not able to move, that's why this Everfrost is so toxic on champions who already has some kind of hard CC. Another good thing is the fact that it also gives you some HP. You lost a lot of HP from not having Rod of Ages anymore, so having a little bit of extra HP is always nice. Just push it down mid guys, nobody will be able to fight us. That's a bit unfortunate. I actually thought that he was going to tank for me, but we just to push mid, but Kaylin was space, so that's a problem. I keep forgetting that we are 4 versus 5 here, so I also need to watch out a bit, but as long as we group, then nobody can fight us. When we get that Ravenous Death Cap, guys, just a single combo is gonna one-shot Katarina and Jhin. Even Tryndamere because he doesn't have any HP or MR. But we can easily end the game before that if we just group up. And that's what we have to do, especially because our support rage quit, so we need to end it before they also scale up and get their items.
I still live, but for how much longer?
They have 2 dragons. It's not too bad if they get this one. The next one we have to contest though, because we don't want to give away the soul, especially not when we have the lead and we are playing 4 versus 5. Yeah, we actually ended mid lane, so that's why they ended up getting the Baron. That's a bit of a mistake though, but we should also group mid. It is solo queue, so it's very hard to make people follow your calls, but if you spam ping them, then sometimes they will come. You know, spam ping that you're going for this objective and you need them, then a lot of times they do end up following. Now our game plan here is that we need to catch somebody. If they walk within range of me, then I can perma-CC them, and then Graves should be able to one-shot. We want to go for picks. As soon as we get somebody, then we can push for the objectives. Thing is, they have a Tryndamere right, so he's just gonna AFK push in the side lane. Can't really do much right now, but as the game extends, then we are 4 versus 5. As they get items that they can easily hold against us. While they're holding, then they have that extra member pushing in the side lane, making it much more difficult for us. Nice, and they got the pick onto Diana, so now is the time where we have to do something. And that is some absolutely insane damage from Katarina. Really nice champion, but yeah, that's what happens if you give her resets. She's just gonna do this. Destroy your entire team, so that's why we have to group early on, focus the right members, so we should have saved our CC for Katarina. I did have the Sonic active here, but that would have not done anything at all. I would still ended up dying 100%, so big misplay from all of us. Katarina is the priority target this game here. She's somehow fed, even though we destroyed her pretty hard early on, but that's how Katarina players play. They just randomly get kills and then they start snowballing. So these upcoming fights, the goal is to focus down Katarina. I'm gonna flank with that teleport right here. And he's down. Jhin from overextending got that double TP, so hopefully we can turn that into a Baron and then maybe go for the next push. I'll remember to focus down Katarina, that is the priority target. We can't really let her get a reset. If she gets one reset, then she's gonna run us down. Baron is pretty easy to do though. At this point we have insane amount of AP. We are very close to get that 1k AP. Ryze and Caitlyn is also really insane in the late game, same goes for Camille, so we have extremely good objective taking potential. Even the super minions just get one shot because it is a Ryze. And Diana was so extended in the bottom side, so that's also another free kill for us. So now It is the enemy team trolling, so now is our time to make the push. Always focus on Katarina, make sure that she doesn't get a reset. If she gets a reset, then she's gonna delete all of us. So as soon as she hops in, guys, then the EWQ router fall off with Aerofrost active. But also keep in mind that she has Sonias. So I can't use everything on her because then she's gonna block everything with the Sonias and then her teammates will engage. In teamfights you just you play with your ADC guys, you're not a frontline, you just hit whoever is engaging on top of you. You're gonna shred them really fast. Because you're playing a late game mage and we're in the late game right now, so you focus the front line with your ADC and then you just destroy one at a time. And we caught out Diana as well, so that is awesome.
Everyone wants to chat. You're busy saving the world.
Tryndamere is still pushing in the side lane though, that's where he becomes really annoying because he's just gonna keep doing that the entire game. And Makai cancelling my recall, so he won't really let me recall here, so we just have to re-engage.
I'd like my tragedy narrowly averted.
He's not gonna escape a Ryze. Now this actually ended up costing them the game because they committed too hard for to cancel my recalls and play around the Tryndamere, but he ended up dying as well, so this will be the game. So of course I hope this video was helpful, guys, and if you have any questions, as always, let me know in the comments. As usual, thank you so much for watching and see you all in the next video.